Alright guys, it is now time for my Week 4 picks of the 2022 NFL season, as last week, oh my god, 5-11, and I lost like 7 in a row too. Oh god, on this list. It was just pain all over. That's not even my worst record ever in a week. I've done worse, 4-10 I think it was in 2019, but that hurt so much. Losing record to start off the year, just pain all over. But also, here is the current regular season and the playoff stands at the season end today. In the AFC, it's the Dolphins with the bye, with Bills at Jaguars, Ravens at Chiefs, and Broncos at Browns. And in the NFC, it's the Eagles with the bye, with Giants at Rams, Cowboys at Vikings, and Buccaneers hosting Packers. And my Super Bowl prediction right now would be the Chiefs over the Packers. So, let's get to my Week 4 picks now. Our last game in September, too, will be an interesting one, as the Dolphins are at the Bengals tonight for the first time since 2016, I believe it was. As the Dolphins try to go to 4-0 for the first time since 1995. Dolphins won the last two. Bengals haven't beaten them since 2016. And the Dolphins haven't won in Cincinnati since 2012. So the Dolphins got a very impressive victory against the Bills, as they are one of only 3 teams left to stay undefeated. And actually they're only one of 2. But yeah, undefeated, surprise and start the year. And unfortunately, Tua got injured, so we'll see how that happens tonight. The Bengals, of course, crushed the Jets to finally get a win so far this year, as this will be an interesting game to see. But for my pick, I'm going to pick the Bengals for this. I think they can finally recover from their terrible start to the year and recover. Alright, then we get to our first of several international series games this year, starting off with the UK, as it's the Vikings at the Saints for the first time since 2020, as the Saints won the last 2. The Vikings haven't beaten them since 2017, and they haven't won in New Orleans since 2008. And of course, this won't even be in New Orleans, it's in London. So the Vikings, meanwhile, oh my god, they won, but they honestly did not play well against the Lions. The Lions had 2 big leads on them, and they choked it away, as the Vikings are 2-1, barely leading the NFC North. Meanwhile, the Saints looked horrible against the Panthers. I thought they were going to lose, but I didn't think they were going to look that bad. Definitely a lot of concern down there for the Saints right now. And if it wasn't for that comeback against the Falcons, they'd be freaking 0-3 right now. Not looking good. So right now, I think I'm going to have to pick the Vikings for this one. Then we get to the 1 p.m. games, starting off with the Browns at Falcons for the first time since 2014. Browns won the last 2. The Falcons haven't beaten them since 2010, and the Browns haven't won in Atlanta since 1993. So the Browns, leaders in the AFC North, need this win after they beat the Steelers last week to hold on for that one. Hanging on pretty good without Watson being there, but you have to wait till the middle of November still before he comes back. Meanwhile, the Falcons beat the Seahawks in a very close offensive game right there, as they're trying to get to 2-2. They could possibly get it, but I'm going to pick the Browns still for this one. Only concerns will Myles Garrett be able to play because he got a car injury over the week. Then, a huge one in the AFC side of the playoffs, as the Bills are at the Ravens for the first time since 2018. The Ravens won the last 3. The Bills haven't beaten them since 2013, and they haven't won in Baltimore since 1999. Their only win there. As the Bills, ugly debacle-filled game, like so many debacles to cause the Bills to lose that one. They should have won that, but all the gaffes they did cost them in the end. And the Ravens, offensively, once again, crushed the Patriots. As Ravens right now look like they have one of the best offenses in the league, which is needed because their defense is absolutely horrible. This will definitely be a challenge for the Bills. Definitely like the Ravens offense right here, but I just don't trust their defense. So I'm going to have to pick the Bills for this one. Then it's the Commanders at the Cowboys, as the Cowboys won the last 2. Commanders haven't beaten them since 2020, as the Commanders got crushed by the Eagles. Meanwhile, the Cowboys hanging in there strong without Dak, as they now won 2 in a row, and right there in playoff mix in the NFC East. So this will be interesting to see. Commanders, of course, got crushed by them both times last year, and they're struggling right now. But, of course, the Cowboys are not necessarily in the best shape either, so maybe the Commanders can pull off the upset, but I'm still going to pick the Cowboys for this. Then, it's the Seahawks at the Lions for the first time since 2018. Seahawks won the last 3. The Lions haven't beaten them since 2012. As the Seahawks, offensive game last week against the Falcons, but just couldn't pull it off in the end. Could have honestly been 2-1, which is impressive. Speaking of which, the Lions. What happened? How do you have that big lead against the Vikings twice and you choked it away? Very disappointing. As the Lions' offense is really strong. Their rushing game is incredible. Their defense is very problematic, though. But hey, you know what? The Lions have an offense, whereas the Seahawks really have nothing, so I'm picking the Lions for this one. Then, it's the Chargers at the Texans for the second year in a row, as the Texans won the last 2. Chargers haven't beaten them since 2016. So, the Chargers, what was that? Not only did you lose to the Jaguars, but you got blown out 38-10? Horrible. Just horrible right there. You should not have lost them by that badly. That's a terrible sign for the season so far. Meanwhile, the Texans, they're not looking good, but once again, very competitive game against the Bears, but just couldn't get in the end. If everything went their way, the Texans could have been 3-0 right now, which is insane. And of course, remember, the Texans beat the Chargers last year pretty convincingly, too. And the Chargers, something's just not right with them right now, plus Herbert being injured. Maybe they shouldn't have him play right now. And the Texans statistically are really bad, but they're being very competitive. So you know what, with all that in mind, I'm going to have to pick the Texans for this one. Maybe you should have beat the Jaguars, Chargers, maybe I could have picked you. Then we got a big matchup in the AFC South with the division lead possibly on the line. As the Titans are at the Colts. Titans won the last 3. The Colts haven't beaten them since 2020. They haven't won at home since 2018. So the Titans finally got their first win of the year, and they almost choked it away too against the Raiders, but they're still not looking really good. Meanwhile, the Colts, very impressive win against the Chiefs to get their first win of the year as they're trying to get back into the playoff contention. I am picking the Colts for this one, but hey, remember, Titans have won 3 in a row in Indianapolis, and they've won 3 in a row since 2020, so you shouldn't underestimate the Titans. Then, it's the very surprising big matchup in the NFC side, as the Bears are at the Giants for the first time since 2018. Bears won the last 3. The Giants haven't beaten them since 2018. The Bears haven't won in Chicago since 2006. So, the Bears held on and beat the Texans, as they're now 2-1, but they're not really impressive, as their offense is horrible and their defense is very suspect. Giants, meanwhile, it's the exact opposite. They're looking really solid right now, and they almost pulled it off against the Cowboys. They could have been 3-0, but hey, 2-1 right now in the playoff mix, that's something to be happy about. I am picking the Giants for this one. Then, probably the biggest matchup of the week, too, even bigger than the Sunday night one, as the Jaguars are at the Eagles for the first time since 2014. The Eagles won the last 3. Jaguars haven't beaten them since 2006, as the Eagles try to go to 4-0 for the first time since 2004. The Jaguars, man, definitely impressing me so far. Didn't expect this, as they are 2-1, dominating everyone too. And if it wasn't for that comeback against the Commanders, they could have been 3-0 right now. Looking like the only good team right now in the AFC South, as they are just strong, absolutely destroying the Chargers last week. Meanwhile, the Eagles got that incredible victory over the Commanders, as they are looking like one of the best offenses in the league right now. Both these teams have a little bit of suspect defense, but their offense is pretty legit. This could be an offensive showcase. Jaguars going to need to pull off that incredible performance like against the Chargers to have a chance for this one. But I'm going to trust the Eagles still for this one. But hey, don't underestimate the Jaguars. They're on a roll right now. Then, it's the Jets at the Steelers for the first time since 2016. The Jets won the last one. The Steelers haven't beaten them since 2016. And the Jets haven't won in, not Heinz Field, I don't know its current name, since 2010. As the Jets, after beating the Bengals last year, they got completely obliterated. Hey, Zach Wilson's coming back, though, but he better start showing up, as he is not going to have an easy time against the Steelers, who now are starting to look like they're struggling, too, as they got pretty much embarrassed by the Browns. Not looking good there, but the Jets are bad, so I'm picking the Steelers still for this. Then we get to the 4 p.m. games. Starting off with the Cardinals at Panthers for the first time since 2020. The Panthers won the last 5. The Cardinals haven't beaten them since 2013, and they haven't won in Charlotte since 2002. So, Panthers, hard-fought game against the Rams, but couldn't get it, and their defense is still really bad. The Panthers, meanwhile, finally got their first win of the year, but they're not looking really necessarily good either. Both teams are definitely struggling. And, of course, the Panthers' defense is hanging on really well. Cardinals' offense is doing pretty good, so their defense has really been bad so far. I trust the Cardinals more, so I'm going to pick them to end that streak. Then it's the Patriots at Packers for the first time since 2014, as the Patriots won the last one. Packers haven't beaten them since that 2014 game, and the Patriots haven't won in Lambeau since 2006. So the Patriots got offensively crushed by the Ravens last week. Mac Jones got injured, and he looked horrible. No idea if he'll be playing or not. Meanwhile, the Packers got very impressive defensive victory over the Buccaneers. They needed that to get out of the season, starting off 2-1, which was vital. So, yeah, I'm picking the Packers for this one. Then it's the Broncos at Raiders, as the Raiders won the last 4. Broncos haven't beaten them since 2019, and they haven't won on the road against the Raiders since 2015, as the Raiders try to avoid 0-4 for the first time since 2014. Broncos, oh my God, they're just horrible right now. They have been horrible. If anything, they should be 0-3 right now, as that team is just terrible. Russell Wilson really needs to pick it up, because you can't keep this momentum up. You're gonna eventually lose badly and never make the playoffs if you don't start winning regularly convincingly, as they barely beat the 49ers last week and they're looking terrible. Meanwhile, even though the Raiders have the worst record in the league, the only winless team left, they're honestly not playing that bad. All their games were close. They could have been 3-0, honestly, if you think about it. So, yeah, the Raiders are like one of the better winless teams I've seen in a while right now compared to other teams. So, you know what? I'm actually going to pick the Raiders in a possible upset. Then, it's Sunday night, a big one, as it's the Super Bowl 55 rematch, as the Chiefs are at the Buccaneers for the first time since 2020. Chiefs won the last one. The Buccaneers haven't beaten them since 2016, and they haven't won it at home since 2012. And, of course, who knows if this game will be... Oh, that's right. Since Hurricane Ian just went through, I just saw a tweet before I did the video that the officials that do Tampa Stadium said it's safe to go. It's just up to the NFL to decide whether or not they're going to do it. So we'll see about that. Because who knows, this game might have to be postponed or moved somewhere else. But anyways, for this matchup, Chiefs lost a tough one to the Colts, as they just looked horrible in that one. Definitely got shut down really well. Meanwhile, the Buccaneers also got shut down really bad, as, like I said, so far these 3 games, they have not really impressed me. Their defense, they're really playing like the 2015 Broncos, with Brady not being as bad as Peyton, but you can't rely on that forever. You need to actually start winning with an offense, which the Chiefs have. So you know what? Throughout all the year, I would have picked the Buccaneers for this one, but right now, I'm going to pick the Chiefs, as I don't trust the Buccaneers' offense at all. And then finally, we get to Monday night, as it's the Rams at the 49ers. The Rams won the last 6. The 49ers won the last 6. The Rams haven't beaten them since 2018. As the Rams, still not looking really good, but hey, they're leading the NFC West right now with that victory over the Cardinals. Meanwhile, the 49ers... horrible performance offensively against the Broncos. Defense did their job, but could not get the win, as they're now 1-2. Wasn't expecting this to start the year off for them. So, yeah. Well, the 49ers actually show up, because they need to against this Rams team. But hey, you know what? I think the 49ers, of course, have history on their side, and they almost did beat them too in the NFC Championship last year. So I'm going to still pick the 49ers for this one. Watch, the Rams are going to win and end the streak. Alright, so those are my picks for Week 4. I cannot wait for Dolphins at Bengals tonight. And, of course, remember, I'll put the Twitch Prime stream in the pinned comments, I meant to say, so you can watch this game along with me. So, anyways, my picks for Week 4, Bengals over the Dolphins, Vikings over the Saints, Browns over the Falcons, Bills over the Ravens, Cowboys over the Commanders, Lions over the Seahawks, Texans over the Chargers, Colts over the Titans, Giants over the Bears, Eagles over the Jaguars, Steelers over the Jets, Cardinals over the Panthers, Packers over the Patriots, Raiders over the Broncos, Chiefs over the Buccaneers, and 49ers over the Rams. So see you guys next time for Week 5.